Hello, and welcome back to the garden. At this time of year, as the days shorten and a distinct chill settles in the air, the garden can seem as if it's fallen into a deep slumber. The vibrant colors of summer and autumn have faded, leaving behind a more muted, skeletal structure. But don't be fooled by the quiet. For some of our most treasured plants, this dormant period is absolutely crucial. It's a time of rest, certainly, but also a time of preparation, and nowhere is this more true than for our berry bushes. What we do now lays the very foundation for the sweet, juicy harvest we all dream of come summer. Whether you have a dedicated patch of plump blueberries, a rambling row of raspberries, or a vigorous thicket of blackberries, the care you provide them in these colder months is what truly dictates their future success. It's a bit like tucking them into bed for the winter. You want to make sure they are comfortable, safe, and have everything they need to wake up refreshed and ready to grow. Neglecting them now can lead to a disappointing crop, but a little bit of thoughtful work in the crisp winter air will pay dividends in abundance. It's one of the great quiet joys of gardening, investing your effort when the world is still, knowing the reward will come with the warmth. And so today, I want to take you through my process, step by step. We'll look at everything you need to do to ensure your berry bushes not only survive the winter, but positively thrive because of it. We'll cover the essential tasks of pruning, which can seem daunting but is really quite simple when you know how. We'll discuss protecting them from the harshest elements and pests, and how to prepare the soil around them for a vigorous burst of growth in the spring. This is your comprehensive guide to prepping them for their best season yet. So grab a warm drink and let's get our hands dirty. Right then, the very first job, and perhaps the most satisfying, is to give the area around your bushes a proper cleanup. Think of it as good housekeeping for the garden. Before the ground freezes solid, it's essential to get in there and clear away all the debris that has accumulated at the base of your plants. This means raking up any fallen leaves, pulling out persistent weeds that have managed to hang on, and removing any mummified leftover fruit that might be clinging to the canes or lying on the soil. It's a simple task, but its importance cannot be overstated. This debris is the perfect overwintering spot for all sorts of fungal spores and pests' eggs, just waiting for the warmth of spring to emerge and cause havoc. While you're down there, have a good, close look at the canes themselves. You're searching for anything that looks unhealthy, perhaps canes that are cracked, discolored, or showing signs of disease like powdery mildew or rust spots from the previous season. If you find any, you must be ruthless. Cut them out right at the base and, this is crucial, do not add them to your compost heap. Material that is clearly diseased should be disposed of, either by burning if you're able to, or in your general waste. By creating this clean, tidy base, you're not just making the patch look neater, you're significantly improving air circulation and helping to maintain a balanced moisture level through the cold, wet months ahead. It's a fresh start. Now that we've tidied up, we can turn our attention to pruning. This is a task that often fills gardeners with a bit of anxiety, but it needn't. The key is simply knowing which type of berry you're dealing with, as they don't all follow the same rules. Let's start with raspberries. If you have summer-bearing varieties, your job is straightforward. You need to identify the old, brown, woody canes that produced fruit this past summer. They've done their job and won't fruit again, so cut them right down to the ground. Leave the new, paler, greener canes that grew this year, as they will carry next summer's crop. Tie them into their supports to protect them from winter winds. It's a simple process of out with the old, in with the new. Forever-bearing or autumn-fruiting raspberries, you have a choice. For the biggest possible autumn harvest next year, you can simply cut every single cane down to the ground after they've finished fruiting. It's wonderfully simple. However, if you'd like a small, early summer crop as well, you can treat them like summer bearers. Cut out only the canes that fruited and leave the new ones. For blackberries, the principle is much the same as summer fruiting raspberries. Remove the old, woody canes that have already fruited and carefully tie in the fresh, new green canes for next year. But for blueberries, you must be patient. Wait until late winter or even very early spring, once the absolute worst of the cold has passed. Then, simply remove any dead, damaged, or weak-looking branches and thin out the center a little to encourage good airflow. Pruning is all about directing the plant's energy where you want it to go. With the pruning and cleaning done, the next step is to provide your plants with a protective winter blanket. I'm talking about mulch, of course. This is one of the kindest things you can do for your garden as it heads into the cold. You'll want to apply a generous layer, about 2 to 4 inches deep, all around the base of each plant. However, be careful not to pile it directly against the main stems or canes. Leave a small gap, a few inches wide, right around the crown of the plant. This collar prevents moisture from getting trapped against the bark, which can lead to rot and other fungal problems over a long, wet winter. It's a small detail that makes a big difference. The type of mulch you use can be varied. I'm a great believer in using what you have, so shredded leaves from your autumn cleanup are an excellent choice, as is well-rotted garden compost or even straw. If you have access to them, pine needles or bark chips are also fantastic options. The purpose of this layer is twofold. Firstly, it acts as insulation, protecting the delicate root systems from the damaging effects of the ground freezing and thawing repeatedly. This fluctuation can heave plants out of the ground and tear fine roots. Secondly, as the mulch slowly breaks down, it enriches the soil, conserves moisture for the spring, and helps to suppress the first flush of weeds. For acid-loving blueberries, using pine needles or oak leaf mold has the added benefit of helping to maintain the low pH soil they absolutely adore. You know, it's a detail that is so easily overlooked as the weather turns cold and damp, but ensuring your berry bushes are well hydrated before winter truly sets in is incredibly important. We often associate watering with the heat of summer, but a final, deep watering before the first hard freeze can really be the difference between a plant that struggles and one that emerges strong in spring. You see, plant cells that are plump with water are far more resilient to the stresses of freezing temperatures than those that are dehydrated. It's a bit like us putting on a thick coat. It provides an internal buffer against the cold. This is especially critical if you've had a dry autumn. So before the forecasts predict that first deep ground-freezing frost, give the soil around your berry bushes a thorough soaking. You want the water to penetrate deeply into the root zone, not just wet the surface. Use a hose on a slow trickle or a watering can and allow the water to sink in slowly and completely. The key here, however, is to ensure your soil has good drainage. You are aiming for moist soil, not a waterlogged bog. If water is left pooling around the base of the plants, it can freeze into a solid block of ice, which will do more harm than good by suffocating the roots and potentially causing them to rot. A deep drink, followed by good drainage, is the perfect recipe. Now we must think about physical protection from the harshest elements winter can throw at us. In many gardens, a good layer of mulch is enough. But if you live in a particularly cold climate, say USDA zones 4 to 6, or are prone to bitter winds and heavy ice, An extra layer of protection for the canes and buds is a very wise investment. The delicate flower buds for next year's crop are already formed on many of these plants, and they are vulnerable. The simplest method is to wrap your bushes. You can use materials like burlap, horticultural fleece, or a specific frost cloth. Gently wrap it around the plant or a group of canes, securing it loosely with twine. For a more robust solution, you can create a simple frame. Hammer in a few stakes around the bush, and then drape the frost fabric over this structure, creating a sort of tent. This is particularly useful as it prevents the material from weighing down on the canes, especially if it gets heavy with snow or ice. Speaking of which, if you're expecting a heavy snowfall, it's a good idea to gently tie the canes of your raspberries and blackberries together. This helps them support one another and prevents them from splaying out and snapping under the weight. And if your berry bushes are in pots, the job is even easier. Simply move them into a more sheltered location, an unheated garage, a garden shed, or even just against the sheltered wall of your house will do. The goal isn't to keep them warm, but to shield the roots and canes from extreme temperature swings while still allowing for good air circulation. There is a strong temptation among keen gardeners to always be feeding their plants, but winter is a time for restraint. Applying a nitrogen-rich fertilizer now would be a grave mistake. Nitrogen encourages the growth of soft, new, leafy shoots, and any new growth that is coaxed out during a mild spell in winter will be immediately blackened and killed by the next hard frost. This is not only a waste of the plant's precious energy reserves, but it can also create entry points for disease. So, put away your general-purpose fertilizers until the spring. The plants are dormant, they are sleeping, and do not need a meal. Instead, our focus should be on feeding the soil itself. Winter is the perfect time to gently amend the soil, preparing it to support your plants when they wake up. This is a much slower, more gentle process. I like to spread a layer of well-rotted manure or rich, dark garden compost around the drip line of the plants. That's the area on the ground directly beneath the outermost reach of the branches. You don't even need to dig it in. Just lay it on top of the soil or your existing mulch. Over the winter months, the worms and other soil life will gradually pull this organic matter down into the soil, improving its structure, fertility, and water-holding capacity. You are building a larder of nutrients, ready and waiting for the roots to access when spring growth begins in earnest. Your berry bushes might be dormant, but the local wildlife certainly isn't. In the sparse landscape of winter, the tender bark and swelling buds of your berry canes can look like a veritable feast to hungry animals. Rabbits and deer, in particular, can cause a tremendous amount of damage in a very short space of time. Rabbits will nibble the bark from the base of the canes, effectively girdling them and cutting off their supply of water and nutrients, which will kill them. Deer, on the other hand, will browse on the tender tips and buds, decimating your future harvest before it even has a chance to grow. You must be vigilant. The most effective defense is a physical barrier. For rabbits, a cylinder of wire mesh or hardware cloth placed around the base of each bush or around the entire patch is your best bet. Make sure it's at least 2 feet high and buried a few inches into the soil to prevent them from burrowing underneath. For deer, you'll need a much taller fence. It's also a good idea to periodically check your plants, especially after a fresh snowfall, which can provide cover for animals and make them bolder. Look for telltale signs of nibbling, tracks in the snow, or burrowing near the base. Some gardeners also have success with deterrents, such as sprinkling sharp-textured pine needles around the base or using commercial repellents. But a good, solid fence is the most reliable protection you can provide. And so, with your berry bushes all cleaned, pruned, mulched, and protected, your active work out in the cold is largely done. Now comes one of the most enjoyable parts of winter gardening, the planning. Settle into a comfortable armchair with your gardening journal and a hot cup of tea, and take some time to reflect and dream. This quiet period is the perfect opportunity to make notes on how your plants performed this year. Which raspberry variety gave you the sweetest fruit? Did that blackberry bush become too rampant and need more rigorous pruning next year? Perhaps that blueberry in the corner didn't get enough sun and needs to be moved. These observations are gold dust. They are the lessons the garden teaches us, and writing them down ensures we don't forget. With these notes in hand, you can start to plan for the season ahead. Perhaps you'll decide to order a new variety you've been wanting to try, a yellow raspberry or a thornless blackberry. Now is the time to browse the catalogs and place your orders for bare root plants. You might also consider which companion plants could benefit your berry patch. Planting bee-friendly flowers like borage or lavender nearby can help boost pollination and, therefore, your harvest. Or perhaps some low-growing herbs to act as a living mulch. Winter may seem like a time of inactivity, but in the mind of a gardener, it is buzzing with potential. So there you have it. That's our winter journey through the berry patch, covering all the essential steps: a thorough cleanup, a thoughtful prune, a generous layer of mulch, a final watering, robust protection, and finally, some forward planning. These simple, quiet tasks, carried out now in the cold, are what separate a mediocre harvest from a truly magnificent one. It's an investment of time and care that will be repaid 100-fold when the warmth returns and your garden bursts back into life. It's the promise of summer that keeps us going through the winter months. With just a little bit of love and attention now, while they are sleeping, you are ensuring that you will have strong, healthy, and happy plants, ready to produce a bumper crop of delicious berries. There is nothing quite like the taste of a sun-warmed berry picked straight from your own garden, and the work you do now is what makes that simple, perfect moment possible. I can almost taste them already. It's a testament to the beautiful, cyclical nature of gardening. Work and rest, preparation and reward. I do hope you found this guide helpful. If you did, please consider giving the video a thumbs up and subscribing for more gardening tips throughout the seasons. And I would genuinely love to hear from you in the comments below. Let me know what kinds of berries you're growing in your own garden, and if you have any special tips or tricks for how you get them through the winter. Every garden and every gardener is different, and we all learn from each other. Until next time, I wish you happy gardening, and do stay cozy.